Hi, thanks for watching the video. This video is about digging deeper into what we believe. And the first question is about the Bible. The question is, which Bible? The Bible is very important in Christian belief, as in a lot of cases the Bible is used as the basis of belief, the authority to which refer. In this short video there's a discussion between Pete and Joe. The discussion starts with Pete asking Joe, "Do you believe in God?" Notice that Joe replies, "Yes, I do." And that's a good start. So throughout the video, don't forget that opening position. Both Pete and Joe believe in God. Then Joe raises a question. Joe asks, "What about the Bible?" Joe is going to start looking at the authority for belief. Pete's response to Joe is quick and confident. Pete says that it's the Bible that is in use in church and in Bible studies and so on, and he gives the example of the NIV. He might have said the Authorized Version, or the Revised Standard Version, or the Amplified Bible, but Pete is confident about the Bible that he is using, and in this particular example it happens to be the NIV. Joe is puzzled by this response, and he says so. Joe says, "I'm puzzled. There are many different Bibles in many different churches." And Joe's not meaning Methodist Church, Presbyterian, Anglican, and so on. He's talking about a wide range. Catholic Church, Protestant Church, Eastern Church, and so on. Pete is understandably puzzled by this, as Pete obviously has taken for granted that the Bible that he uses is the correct Bible. So Joe goes on. Have a look at what Joe says. Joe says, first of all, have a look at Wikipedia. Now, everybody knows that the internet is not a totally reliable authority, but it's certainly a good start to doing research into something, if you're serious about it. And Wikipedia can point you in that direction. So if you're interested in the subject, you then take it further. So what does Joe say? According to Wikipedia, there are many canons. Now, we know what canons are. They are the books that make up the Bible. There are many canons. They're listed in quite a big site on Wikipedia. There are Jewish canons, several of them. There's also the canon of the early church. There's the Markian canon. There's also the Apostolic Fathers canon. There's the canon of the Eastern Church. There's the, call it, Roman Catholic canon. There's even Luther's canon. And of course there's the Protestant canon, and so on. So actually, there are many, many canons. That's different Bibles. They differ in degrees, of course, but they're not all the same, and the canons don't all contain the same books. So the discussion goes on. The turn that the discussion has taken may disturb Pete a little. Perhaps it disturbs you if you're listening. So Pete, instead of answering the opening question, goes on to the attack and says to Joe, "So, you don't believe the Bible is God's word? How can you call yourself a Christian?" Joe is not thrown by this and quickly points out to Pete that that is another question and adds that maybe part of the answer is that I worship God and not the Bible. This is another discussion for another day. But notice, Joe comes back to the opening question, and all of us should ask ourselves this question, I think, if we're honest about what we're looking into, and it's a very important subject. He comes back to the first question. How do you know that the Bible you are reading is the correct one? He's asking this because there are many, many different canons. And yet people are so confident that the Bible they are holding in their hand is the right one. Now, all sorts of things can happen now. Let's see how the discussion might go, and hopefully not. Well, let's hope this doesn't happen. Pete is not pleased with this. He sees it as a threat, and this is the fate that he hopes will befall Joe. Well, let's hope not. Let's hope that Pete has an open mind and is prepared to go on discussing the question rationally. It is, after all, a very, very important question. Is there doubt raised by this? Well, perhaps a final comment. No doubt leads to no insight. Little doubt leads to little insight. Great doubt leads to great insight. Don't forget, both Pete and Joe believe in God. Thank you for listening.